bitter criticism. Let's see what's going on in Al Jazeera. But I guess the best thing are social media, Instagram, TikTok videos about this war. There's a lot of material like never before because there's a lot of cameras nowadays. Imagine a World War III. There will be a lot of cameras. Everybody has a camera. So I'm going to read the Al Jazeera live updates. Here we go. Oh, something wrong here. It says Trump very unhappy with Israel over violating ceasefire with Iran. Yeah, the United States, they are still very powerful, but everybody knows Donald Trump is kind of out of international law. It's interesting because, as Pepe Escobar said, the United States is like Leviathan, but there's another monster, biblical monster, but I don't remember the name. Yeah, so the law is just an expression of power. You can jail anyone, even saints. You can jail even the best people in the world, innocent people, everybody. If they don't have power, if they are not the United States assassins, murderers. Well, says Trump very unhappy with Israel over violating ceasefire with Iran. Iran denies breaking the ceasefire agreement while Israel threatens to attack Tehran with quote-unquote intense strikes by Masyar Motamendi, Stephen Killen, Rory Sullivan, June 24. And the summary says, U.S. President Donald Trump says Israel and Iran have both violated the ceasefire, but that he was, quote-unquote, really unhappy with Israel. He called on Israel to stop dropping bombs and to, quote-unquote, bring your pilots home now. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz says he has ordered, quote-unquote, intense strikes on Tehran, accusing Iran of violating the truce brokered by US and Qatar. Iran denies the claim, and its top security body warns its forces stand ready to respond decisively to any Israeli violations. Iran fired a salvo of missiles at a U.S. military base in Qatar on Monday in retaliation for the attacks on its nuclear sites a day earlier. Iran says more than 400 people, including 13 children, have been killed and at least 3,056 others wounded since Israel launched its attack on June 13. In Israel, at least 28 people have been killed in Iranian strikes. A few seconds ago, Israel can completely violate the will of the United States. In my opinion, they are the same country, the same people, liberal, Zionists, Jews, nevertheless. Israeli affairs analyst Dan Perry says U.S. involvement in the Israel-Iran conflict has been, quote-unquote, incredible throughout, from its historic direct attack on Iran to U.S. President Donald Trump's ceasefire declaration, quote, on behalf of the parties, and the pressure on Israel to comply. Quote, Trump is trying to lay down the law and present himself as the sheriff of the region, end quote. Perry told Al Jazeera, quote, it might be performative, end quote. Asked whether Israel will respect Trump's plan, Perry said he doesn't think Israel, quote, really has as much latitude as I sometimes hear from various commentators, end quote. Quote, Israel can completely violate the will of the U.S. It can continue such a massively impactful operation without U.S. acquiescence, end quote, he said. 10 minutes ago, employees and visiting families among dead at Evin prison. The Iranian judiciary says several employees and visiting family members died as a result of Israel's attack on Evin prison, state media report. Authorities in Iran previously reported deaths at the facility but had not given further details. Part of the notorious jail, which is located in a northern neighborhood of the capital Tehran, was hit in an Israeli strike on Monday. The UN Rights Office has called the targeting of Evin prison a quote-unquote grave breach of international humanitarian law. Well, there's nothing new. There's a photograph. The scene after Israeli strikes on Iran's notorious Evin prison on Monday, June 23. 23 minutes ago, Iran's president says country will not attack unless Israel does first. But in the current state of affairs, Israel, in my opinion, a U.S. Navy, a U.S. base in Qatar is nothing compared to three high science, high developed technology of infrastructure and energy in Iran. Is nothing. So Iran should destroy the U.S. That's my opinion. Somebody have to destroy domestic U.S. territory. That will be fair. But Iran's president says country will not attack unless Israel does first. By Ali Hashem, Iran's president Masoud Pezeshkian has said Iran will respect the truce with Israel as long as Israel does, reports Iran's Nours news media. Pezeshkian also said Iran is open to dialogue and will protect the interests of Iranians at the negotiating table, according to Nour News. Half an hour, 30 minutes ago, here from the Pacific Ocean. Believe it or not, the name of this neighborhood, of this street, is Pacific. Pacific. Just the Pacific. 30 minutes ago. El Al, choose I don't know how to read this. EIAE to scale up fights to bring Israelis home. Israel's flag carrier says it will boost its flight schedule to bring tens of thousands of Israelis back from abroad following the ceasefire with Iran. This is like a travel company, flying company. El Al, the name is El Al, confirmed that it will use its full fleet to add thousands of seats over the next 24 hours. Widespread flight cancellations across the region ensued after the Israel-Iran conflict broke out on June 13. 12 days later, a Trump-brokered ceasefire has allowed the gradual reopening of Ben Gurion Airport near Tel Aviv. 40 minutes ago, Netanyahu sees boost in popularity might be tempted to call snap elections. So, after all this may be a matter of elections. I wonder how are the elections in the Middle East. A lot of jingles, a lot of music, just like in Brazil. You have to see Brazilian elections full of dance, music, trickery, craziness by Bernard Smith. But Netanyahu sees boost in popularity might be tempt to call snap elections. Al Jazeera is reporting from Jordan because it has been banned from Israel and the occupied West Bank. There have been 28 people killed in Israel during the conflict with Iran. My opinion is too little. This number is too little. Very few people, 28 people, during the conflict with Iran. But for Netanyahu, it has been played as a success. Yeah, I think too. I agree with Netanyahu. It's a success. 28 people. It has been played as a success. The Israelis relied around the flag. They were behind Netanyahu's decision to attack. In the ceasefire holds. If the ceasefire holds, Israel will have resisted being dragged into any sort of war of attrition. It's taken under 2 weeks for Netanyahu to claim achievement of the goals he said in launching the June 13 attack. Netanyahu said his goals were to destroy Iran's nuclear program and its missile capabilities, and that is what he says he's done. There are 20 evacuation flights setting off from Israel today to pick up Israelis stranded abroad. The country wants to show a return to normalcy. The focus will return to Gaza, the captives in Gaza, and the horrors Israel is committing there. Before there's too much focus on that, Netanyahu might be tempted to ride the wave of his popularity and call an election. His fortunes have turned. And finally, 1 hour ago, Iraq's foreign ministry congratulates Qatar on Iran-Israel diplomacy. Iraq's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement on Telegram that it, quote-unquote, congratulates the sisterly state of Qatar on its diplomatic efforts and mediation endeavors, end quote, that contributed to reaching a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran, quote-unquote, reflecting its role in supporting regional stability. 1 hour ago, the last one. Iran arrests European suspected of spying on military sites, report. A European national was arrested. There's a new live update, a lot of new live updates. I'm going to read the new live update instead. 10 minutes ago. The new live update is 10 minutes ago. 11 minutes ago. This is completely hypocritical. Quote unquote, Israel can completely violate the will of the US, but I just read that. I don't understand what is the new live update. Where's the new live update, Al Jazeera? Well, that's it, I guess. That's it. So I enjoy more watching the war on Instagram and TikTok, because there's a lot of real fighting, and a lot of movie scenes, action movie scenes, but for real, on social media.